Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. Hope you guys are feeling well this morning and having an excellent start to your weekend. I got you a pretty long update this morning, probably one of the more longer morning updates. We're going to talk about multiple things. We're obviously going to break down what is going to happen with the weather specifically for today, as we always do. But we're going to talk a lot on the tropics, too. We're going to talk a lot on the rains expected for Texas and what I'm thinking about how much rain could fall, or really not what I'm thinking, what the experts are thinking, the National Weather Service is thinking as far as rainfall. Then I'll give my opinion on it. And then we'll break down the beginning of the video and towards the later half of the video. First off, what's going on with potential tropical cyclone 4 that is still forecast to become a Danielle, tropical storm Danielle, and then we'll give you the latest update on what is going on way out there in the tropical Atlantic. The models still like the idea of things slowly picking up towards the last several days of August. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. It goes a long way. Really appreciate the growth over the last 5 days. Things have been incredibly slow for my regular viewers, and I've been mentioning it a lot, but I've had an uptick in growth, and I really appreciate it. Hit me up on social media. It's a great way to, one, interact with me, and I have a little fun on there, too. I'm not just strictly, kind of straight edge, just professional. I like to have a little fun on there also. Facebook, Twitter is a great way to interact with me, and more importantly than anything, if you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So I'm already out of breath with the first 2 minutes of the video. So let me take a deep breath and let's get rolling here. Water vapor loop. There's an upper low kind of swinging through the Midwest. This will promote some severe weather. We'll talk about that across areas of the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. Then you have a sagging, what is basically a stalled frontal boundary that's kind of wiggling on through here. And what you got is shortwave pieces of energy that's riding along this boundary. This is going to promote big time flooding across the Southwest, where you have a moderate risk for flash flooding. And this will eventually cause big rains for areas of Texas, especially the northern half of Texas, but everywhere in Texas. And then if you look down here, you can see the whiter colors is more moisture in the atmosphere, and this is water vapor. You can see PTC4, what could potentially be Tropical Storm Danielle by the time maybe some of y'all watch this. There's a chance of that. Slowly sneaking into the picture of the lower 48. Outside of that, just normal patterns and flows out here. Storm Prediction Center, there is a marginal risk for severe storms anywhere from far northeast Oklahoma all the way through Ohio. Well, watch out for that. Really quickly, guys, if you want to skip ahead, if you don't want to know what's going to happen today, want to hear about the tropics, feel free to skip ahead. I do this as a part-time hobby right now, so unfortunately, I can't make little chapters in my videos. I really don't have the time. I make 2 videos a day, and I work a full-time job. And maybe one of these days when I can do this full time, I would love to put more effort in these videos and make them better. But right now, this is where I'm at in life. And God willing, hopefully, I can make this a full-time hobby and make this much more appealing to the audience. So bear with me, steady grower here. Excessive rainfall outlook. You got the marginal risk down here with just a push of moisture that's being aided by PTC4. I'm labeling that system in the Bay of Campeche, the Gulf of Mexico, PTC4, and that's what the National Hurricane Center is calling it now. So anytime you hear me say that in a video and you're confused, that's the system I'm talking about. Right here, you still got a little leftover moisture from 98L from like last weekend. This is actually amplifying moisture in the desert Southwest, but you're going to have some issues here today. You're going to have flash flooding. Moderate risk that has at least a 40% chance of flash flood guidance being met. So 2 to 4 inches of rain is certainly possible today, and today alone in these areas. And I know you're thinking, well, that's not a ton. It is for the desert Southwest. That's a lot of rain. The soils out here can't absorb it really fast, and flash flooding is likely to happen when the flash flood watch is actually up. So here's the update on the tropics. It's hot off the press, 8 a.m. update. So one thing that has changed is an area of interest has been introduced here in the next 5 days. That tropical wave, this is that first out of the second. If you've been paying attention or watching the updates in the evenings, I've been talking about 2 waves that we need to watch in the tropical land. This is the first one. It has a 20% chance to develop in the next 5 days. We will watch this. We'll give you an update on what the Euro and the GFS is showing with this particular wave. And then you got PTC4. It's not a tropical storm yet, but it is inching closer to land, and ultimately it's running out of time. And here it is. This is the Gulf of Mexico, if you're trying to wonder. This is Florida, Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula. This little area right here is what we call the Bay of Campeche. And here it is. This is satellite here showing what's going on with the storm. It does not look well put together. In fact, I would argue that yesterday around this time, it looked better. So I would argue if I would have to lean on one side of the fence being this is going to become a tropical storm, and one side not, I would actually lean to the side that it's not. But it still has a 70% chance right now per the National Hurricane Center to become a depression or a storm. We will watch it. Things could change very quickly in a short amount of time. We've seen it time and time again, but still in a somewhat favorable environment. But the surface low is actually right here, and there's kind of like two areas of mid-level convection or mid-level spins. It's elongated. You don't have one dominant vortice, it looks like here, and the actual probably low level, if there's any at all, and there's actually hurricane hunters flying into this from Louisiana right now. I'll give you an update on that, but I think that information will likely come out after I'm done with this video. But right now, it just doesn't look that good. It's not, you wouldn't expect a wave to be vertically stacked, but it's not even close. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what the hurricane hunters say. And honestly, I think the fly-in with the hurricane hunters this morning will tell us a lot if this is still going to be forecast to be a tropical storm. But as of right now, still forecast to become Tropical Storm Danielle by sometime this afternoon. It certainly isn't right now. But right here, it's kind of getting closer and running out of time. It's running out of real estate. Real estate in the tropical world is water, not land. So it is running out of running out of water here. So we'll see. Now, the next big story is, and I saw a lot in the comments. It wasn't an argument. It was just some discussion about, some people are saying 20-25 inches of rain in Texas this coming week. I guess you can't rule it out. But a lot of people are thinking it's going to be this from the effects of this area of moisture right here. And it certainly can be. But moving forward here, I want to show you all something. This right here is basically a frontal boundary. So what happens is we have basically, you can call them like short wave pieces of energy. This is say pieces of energy, which is basically showers and storms that can amplify with daytime heating. So this is actually what is causing the issue in the Southwest. You got ample amount of moisture, and it's being amplified probably by the remnants of 98L from last weekend that drifted across northern Mexico, made its way into this area. So this is going to eventually make its way, ride this boundary, and cause a lot of rain and flooding issues probably for areas of North Texas. Now, you see this L down here? That is our tropical wave, or what could be our tropical storm. This will move northwest, make landfall, probably bring some rains, a little bit of rain to South Texas. But I would honestly think that you're going to see, it's not going to be as much as an influence, I think, as people think, but it could. With the steering currents probably going like this, there's a chance that whatever leftover moisture kind of gets over, maybe rides the Mexico-Texas border, and then gets picked up by these currents, and then kind of gets rewrapped into Texas. So I could see moisture from this riding through up here and then kind of riding back east. I could see that. I could see that for sure. But as far as in a direct, right now here in the next 48 to 72 hours, it really amplifying rainfall across, especially up here in North Texas, no, I don't see it. But it could do a funky thing where it comes up and then rides this way. But in the near term, basically 48, 72 hours, I think maybe 2 to 4 inches of rain at most could fall in South Texas from this. So we'll see. We'll definitely see what happens. But you look at the National Weather Service, how much rain expected between 1 to 7 days. These are the experts. So the 20-25 inches of rain that was being talked about, and I heard Ryan Hall mention it. I don't disown anybody, and I actually like Ryan Hall. Me and him have spoken a couple times, and I don't have a problem with Ryan Hall at all, and not one bit. But a lot of people say they saw where there was a model run that showed 20-25 inches of rain, and I kind of went through some stuff last night, and I just didn't see what it was. So I guess I would have to go watch his video. But this is the National Weather Service, the experts right here. And I'm not an expert. And I would argue that most people on weather YouTube are not experts. We're just enthusiasts that kind of bring our ideas and our opinions to the table here. But 1 to 7 day outlook on rain for Texas. So this goes all the way out to this time next Saturday morning. So this area right here, right over Dallas-Fort Worth area, this symbolizes on this little key over here 7 to 10 inches. That is the most I see between now and the next 7 days. Once you get past 7 days, you get kind of into an unreliable time frame. So in general, the most I see on here is 7 to 10 inches of rain. Now, could you get an isolated 20 inches of rain somewhere in Texas? I think it's certainly possible. You don't want all that, especially how dry it is. But man, I do think that you're going to see a lot of rain in Texas over the next week. You are. Not just Texas. I mean, there's a nice flow here in the southeast too into the northeast. So there is a lot of rain expected. But in the near term, like I was saying, maybe 1 to 2, maybe 4 inches of rain. I don't think you're going to see a lot of moisture off this. This is between now and Monday morning. I think actually the moisture gets kind of shunted into Mexico due to some dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So I actually think most of the moisture, and I could be wrong, guys. We don't have great satellite visibility as far as radar on this system. Could get kind of jammed into Mexico. We'll see. We'll see how this happens. So we're going to go over the rest of the country. We're going to skim through this very quickly because I don't see anything too crazy going on. But the southeast, what could we expect today, your Saturday? I think it'll be your typical kind of summer day, but there is a nice moist flow out there. So you could have widespread tropical downpours as far west as eastern Texas through the southern areas of Louisiana. Anybody could see it in Mississippi today, Alabama, Georgia, Florida could certainly see some rains. But as far as super active weather, widespread showers and storms, severe in nature, I don't see it. Just your typical late summer day, late summer flow out here. Up here in the northeast, pretty quiet. You could have some showers and storms that look definitely likely to swing through Michigan a little bit later this afternoon, out of Indiana into Ohio a little bit later this evening. Watch out Detroit, Cleveland around dinner time. You guys could certainly see an isolated storm or two. Not isolated, most likely scattered to likely. And then this will eventually kind of work its way into maybe areas of PA, New York State. We'll have some showers developing, and then even more showers and storms start to move back into Michigan from overnight. The south central U.S. will watch today. What does it look like? Well, here it is. Here's that moist feed of moisture. This is widespread rains moving out of New Mexico. You guys will see a lot of rain today. This will steadily move into basically anywhere in Texas has drought conditions. Some worse than others. Some a lot worse than others. Some just kind of a mediocre drought. Not too bad. But the panhandle of Texas into the panhandle of Oklahoma, rain moves in late this afternoon. Even western Texas, widespread rains, guys. And at the same time, you got a flow coming in from the tropics that's producing a lot of rain down here. For probably eastern areas and southeastern areas of Texas. Houston can certainly see some showers and storms today. But here it is. It starts to crank in. Dallas-Fort Worth today, I don't think it's going to be a super rainy day for you guys, including the middle of Texas. I think that really starts tomorrow. But overnight tonight, these showers begin to move in. And they start to move into Oklahoma also, and then the rain parade starts for the next week. We're getting into tomorrow morning at this point, and I think tomorrow morning areas, maybe in and around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, could certainly wake up to some widespread rains, which we certainly needed. But glory is coming, and it might be coming a little too fast, but this is rain expected between now and tomorrow morning, 24 hours. Notice you don't see any rain right here. Big time drought in this part of Texas. Your time isn't coming today, but I do think you're going to have a lot of rain along the coastal regions of Texas, and then you got all that rain moving. Look at all the rain in New Mexico, guys. I mean, this is a lot of rain, and but you got a lot of rain moving into the panhandle areas of north central Texas over the morning hours, and you go over here and you look at let's look at Arizona. How much rain could you guys get between now and the next 24 hours? A lot of rain down here. Anywhere from 1 to as much as 4 to 5 inches of rain down here in southeast Arizona and southwest New Mexico. This is a lot of rain for this area of the country. We keep moving to the north central U.S. That little vertically kind of stacked upper low swings through, really fires up some storms a little bit later this afternoon across southern Wisconsin, far eastern areas of Iowa. And these will swing through northern Illinois. These could be severe in nature, and I think these will pack a punch. Watch out for a little bit of a flooding risk, too, with these. And we'll have to watch out. There was a crazy video out of Iowa last night of significant hail. We mentioned it in yesterday's video last night, that with a cold air aloft, hail is easily produced in these storms. And there will be a hail threat today, so we need to watch out for that. But I don't think it'll be near as bad as yesterday. But these storms could swing through this area today. Missouri, southern Missouri could see rain too. I don't have, there you go, I got you guys in the picture now. So watch out. Do I think these are going to be very bad? No, but I do think there is a small tornado risk. So we'll watch out for that also. Temperatures, widespread. Get a more broader look instead of breaking down each region, or I would have had to pull up about 4 additional tabs, blow up my computer here. But there will be a pocket in Oklahoma before the rain moves in. Well, it'll warm up pretty good. Pretty warm day in Oklahoma, even Dallas-Fort Worth, especially north. Pocket of very warm air. This will probably be one of the hottest spots of the country today. 90s, upper 90s in Oklahoma City. But don't worry, rain-cooled air is coming. The rest of the South, at typical late summer temperatures, pretty warm in New England today. New York City to Boston, Philadelphia, down to Washington, D.C., upper 80s to low 90s, certainly possible. A little cool patch of air up here, but nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy as far as temperatures one way or the other today. So let's take a look at the tropics. I know this is a long video, guys. Let's take a look at the European, right? The European still likes the idea of that second wave, guys. It does. First wave moves through. This is the area of interest that it's talking about. This moves in, struggles mightily with dry air. There's going to be a tut that inches its way into the main development region, and I'll talk about that tonight, actually, so stay tuned. And it basically is an intrusion of dry air and shear that kind of nudges its way into sometimes the Caribbean, which we call the graveyard of the west of the Eastern Caribbean. And sometimes it nudges its way into areas of the main development region. So this will create hostile environment for any wave that comes out, even the second wave. But the first wave doesn't make it, guys. It doesn't. And the European still does not like much of the idea of much of anything getting in the Gulf. The GFS still does. But at the same time, here comes this second wave. So around 6 days from now, we're probably going to have a tropical wave in the middle of the main development region. How strong will it be? We're not sure. I don't think it'll be a tropical storm. But you keep this going. We're starting to inch this into the medium term now, guys. Is it forecastable? Probably not yet. But here we go. We got a wave. It's not really strengthening or weakening. But as it starts to get into the later forecast period or the model period, we're getting into about 8-9 days out. It starts to try to strengthen. Another thing I've not talked about much at all is steering currents, because I'm a big believer. There's not a big point of talking about steering currents until we know we have a decent confidence level that something is actually going to form out here. And I don't think we're there yet as far as a confidence level, but I think we're getting there to the point where we can say, hey, the activity is going to pick up. So there is some weak ridging out here at the same time that we have this tropical development. So that would tell me that this would favor more turning north with these systems. So that would actually favor a less threatening scenarios of maybe this impacting the lower 48 of the Caribbean islands. But it's way too far out to say that yet. But this is the last frame of the European. Has this second wave becoming a tropical storm. So this is the wave that the European loves. Now, you look at the GFS. The GFS is everywhere. It really is. It's just, first off, let's look at the OOZ GFS from overnight. Let's look at that. Gets this first wave, right? This is around Thursday morning of next week, August the 25th. And here's the second wave forming behind it. It quickly develops this into almost a tropical storm by Friday evening next week. And then where'd the first wave go, right? Here's the second wave that's a full-fledged tropical storm, low-end hurricane status by Sunday afternoon, next weekend, not this Sunday afternoon. At the same time, you still got an area of moisture from the first wave. Then you got this area right here in the Gulf of Mexico that tries to get going, that the GFS has always been hinting on for the last week now. And you got a full-fledged hurricane at this point, way out here in the main development region, that's trying to move north because of lack of just a sustained ridge up here and blocking, that's kind of blocking this from moving more so just east to west. You still watch this, right? Still watching this. Don't let your eyes go off that completely. At the same time, you got a landfall and tropical wave that moves into Alabama. We're about 10 to 11 days out now, so very unreliable time frame. Just tells you how wild the GFS is. And then you still got this tropical system trying to split in between both of these areas of ridging of high pressure right here. And then look at this. This is still the first wave. All of a sudden in the Bahamas, it gets going, turns into a rapidly intensifying hurricane, slams South Florida, then rides up the peninsula. Take from this that, listen, I said it last night, the tropics are becoming more active, guys. They are. They are becoming much more active, and that's what you take from this. The GFS, the latest GFS, takes that first wave, maintains it for a little bit. That's the first wave. Second wave. Doesn't do much with it. Weakens it kind of like before. And then with the second wave, now has it more significantly more south, when the first one had it much more stronger, more north, which makes sense. A stronger system likes to move more north. It likes to gain a northward polar motion here. GFS still likes the idea right here, as we're getting about 9 days out, some kind of tropical moisture moving into basically the Gulf states. But then what happens to our waves out here? I mean, we got this too. What happens to our waves? They're gone. I mean, so, man, this junk is everywhere. It's tripping me out. But this is, once you get 200 hours out, I mean, this isn't totally uncommon. It's just long range. But the European Ensemble, which I'm going to lean my shoulders on with this, very weak signal for that Gulf energy, like literally like 4 out of 50 runs show it. Very weak signal for the first wave. But that second wave, this is almost all this is that second wave. You now got, I would say, upwards to about 30 members now showing love to that second member. So we have to see. So the ensembles have really been strong. This will be a major win for the Euro and the ensembles if something does even somewhat come out this second wave. We look at the airplane right now, this recon mission going into the storm. I think it's just now starting to get into the storm. A little bit of high-end winds, 40 to 45 knot. Well, I'm sorry, it's about 34 to 40 knot winds. So, picked up on a brief gust of, tropical storm force winds, 40, 45 miles per hour. But this is probably just some outer bands. But it's flying into it now. You might get some updated information. I'll remind you guys, follow me on Twitter, guys. Follow me on Twitter. This is my Twitter page if you're wondering. Right here. I'm at scweather_WX. It's a great way to follow along with what I do here, and I'll keep you guys constantly updated. So God bless all y'all. 23-minute video, broke some records this morning. Y'all have a great start to your weekend, and follow me this tonight. We'll have you some latest and greatest information talking specifically on the tropics. God bless.